Hey, it's Nat, and this is the second of the 3 tutorials I'll be making for Adobe After Effects. In this tutorial, we'll take a look at something called masking and motion tracking. With masking, we can add things that weren't already there. Right now, I just have a composition opened with an aspect ratio of 1920 by 1080. Here, I have imported a short clip of a street bus, which I have shortened to be around 6 seconds. So we'll just play it back with spacebar. Okay. Really normal video. So what I want to do with this clip is 2 very simple edits that will teach you the basics on masking and motion tracking. The first thing I want to do is add another one of these green pillars, or add 2 more, and also I want to blur the license plate of the bus as it moves forward, say for privacy reasons. So the first thing you want to do is duplicate your footage, so click on it, and then you can go to edit and duplicate right here, or you can just do Command D. I'm going to rename this Pillar 1. So you can see that the same footage is duplicated, except this one is going to be on top. You're going to see why this is useful in a second. Now let's do some masking. So first, make sure your arrowhead is at the very start of the clip. And when you're masking, you want to make sure that you're on the layer that you want to mask. Because if you're not on any layer, for example, and you make a shape, it's going to make a shape layer, and it makes one here, which is not what you want. The same thing goes if you make one with the pen tool. It's going to make a shape layer and not a mask. So let's just delete that. So we're going to click on the layer first, and now we can start masking. Like I mentioned, you can use any shape tool, or if you want to be more precise, you have to use the pen tool. I'm going to zoom in a bit onto the green pillars. Then grab your pen tool right here, and then click to make your first point, and continue clicking to continue your path. Now to make a curved line, you hold or click and then drag, and it makes a curve. And then do the same thing for this side, and then bring it around here. And then to close the path, you want to hover over the first point until this little circle pops up, and then hit it. Now it's a closed path. So now when I hide the first layer by clicking this little eyeball icon, you'll see that the only thing showing is what you've selected. This is essentially what a mask is. When you click through here, you see that there's a mask option, and then the mask itself has many of its own settings, including this, which have different like add and subtract. If you click on subtract, you'll see that everything else is showing but what you've selected. For now, we're just going to use add. So turn the bottom layer back on, and then go back to your first layer and click your select tool. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, so Command minus. And so now with my select tool, you can see that I can move it freely, and it's duplicated. I'll move this around like here. Should be fine. I'm going to do this again, the same thing. I'm going to duplicate this layer, Command D, and name it, oh, it's already Pillar 2. I was going to name it Pillar 2. Anyway, the same thing with your move tool, just move it anywhere you want. There, I'm happy with that. So now I have 2 extra pillars that weren't there already. And of course you can fiddle around with this and make it more realistic, but this is just the basics to demonstrate. Now let's add a blur to the plate as the bus goes forward. I'm going to click on the original layer, duplicate that, and drag it above all of them, and I'll name it Plate Blur. I'm going to zoom in a little bit onto where the plate is. I'll actually make the resolution higher so you can see the numbers. So again, to create a mask, you gotta be on the layer that you want to mask, and you can use the shape tool or the pen tool. In this case, it doesn't have to be that precise, so I'll just use the rectangle. So let me just hide the other layers and show you the problem with this. I'll zoom out, and as you can see that when I play the playhead, the mask is in the same spot, but the footage is still moving, which means that it isn't necessarily following the license plate as it moves forward, and that's not what we want. We need to tell After Effects to motion track it, meaning have the mask track the motion of the bus. So we want the blur that we're going to be adding after to be happening all the way through. Now turn everything back on, and now on the mask layer, make sure you've selected it. Now go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, Gaussian Blur, and sort of go on the slider where it says blurriness and push it up until you're happy with it. Okay, this should be good, but now when I put the playhead through, it's more obvious now that it doesn't go with the license plate. So we have to fix that. So again, make sure you're on your mask layer and your playhead at the start. I'm going to go to one of these panels, which is called Tracker, and you will see that if I go on any other layer, like Pillar 2 for example, it's going to have different options, which is why you need to make sure you're on the correct mask layer. Here you can use any options. For this example, I'm just going to be using position, scale, and rotation. So click that. Now hit this, and it will take some time to analyze, as you can see down here, especially with longer clips, but it is what it is. Okay, so it's done. Let's play it back. You can see now the blur is following the bus. Now you can export this, which I covered how in the last tutorial. You can use these techniques for so many things to a scene, which are either moving or still, and you can add effects to other moving parts of a scene. In the next tutorial, we'll try some more techniques. Thanks for watching.